Hello, Dr. Karen here. This is the Spiritual Medicine Digest for the week of February 24th, 2025. Today I want to talk about spiritual swelling. Okay, so some of you sensitive souls are like, oh my gosh, thank gosh she's talking about swelling. Now, many of us have noticed over the last several years that it has been easier for us to feel a little poofy, a little swollen. Now, this is not everyone. There are certain sensitive soul types that are not really at risk of this symptom of swelling, but many of us are. And the ones who have a soul type, Light Being Starseed, those folks are actually light beings in a human body in this timeline. They tend to, at times, swell a lot more than the rest of us. Now, I have multiple souls, long story, but there's only one of my souls that's a light being starseed. The other one's earth angel, the other one's another type of embodied starseed, all swooshed together. So I don't have it as quote unquote bad as others, but there was a time back in, I think it was 2016, 2017, something like that, where I had launched on a telesummit, and all of a sudden I began doing session after session after session after session of TOLPAKAN healing. And it was so busy over 8 months, I swelled massively. And when I was testing what's going on, I get that it was some sort of ascension swelling. And I'm like, well, yay. Now, it got so intense that I literally felt like the Michelin Man. For those of you in North America, you know what I'm talking about, right? If you've seen Ghostbusters, you know, that big, blimpy, white, ghosty looking guy, right? The Michelin Man. Oh no, that was the pastry puff guy. Oops. Anyway, poofy, white, similar. So I felt like this big, huge. And the thing is that, I was seeing 2 massage therapists at the time, one for lymphatic drainage, which I definitely needed, and the other for medi-cupping, which is a kind of cupping but using a machine. And both said, they said, you're kind of poofy. I know that's not a diagnosis, but it's kind of weird because it's not like you're fat per se. I did look fat. In fact, I have on Siblings Day, I would often, repost that picture of my brother, my sister, and I that I absolutely love. And me being the smallest of the 3 siblings, in that picture, I was the biggest. Short, but big. And yeah, I was definitely swollen. So much so that it came to a head when I was putting on, I believe, a winter coat or bigger coat, something like that used to fit me. And I literally was going to rip the seams like the Hulk, in the comics. I was like, if I move just the right way, this whole thing is coming apart. And I thought, this is ridiculous. Okay. So finally, you think, why'd you do it earlier, Dr. Karen? I didn't think of it. I was so busy, right? So finally I thought, okay. I got to figure this stuff out. Obviously, this is not a quick fix. So I decided with TOLPAKAN healing that I was going to ask better quality questions. Now, this may or may not pertain to you, but I want to give you the history of it because we're going to do some TOLPAKAN healing activation around this ascension swelling. Now, I have whole protocols related to this, so we're not going to be doing everything in the protocol, but I'm going to give you some key things. Number 1 is that I discovered that because of the ascension process, all of our timelines were converging into one, meaning that if I had other timelines where I was a different body type or shape or size, that my physical form was really trying to match that blueprint. And in my Lemurian days, I believe I was around 7 foot tall, 240 pounds, and a girth about this big. So my body was like, oh, I see that blueprint, and was trying to make me that tall. But given the solidity and density of this human structure, I was not going to grow 2 feet anytime quickly. So the only way was this way. So that was one. Timeline convergence can cause all of our blueprints from all of our other timelines, the ones that are closest to this one. Now I have 3 souls, like I told you, in other trainings and videos. And early on, that this particular Lemurian soul is that embodied starseed soul. So that blueprint was a little bit more dominant. There was the human blueprint, yes, there was this Lemurian blueprint, and so on and so forth. But this embodied starseed blueprint was really, really big. So what I did as part of the Ascension swelling protocol was to swap out the dominant blueprint back to a more reasonable human size blueprint, making that one dominant. Yeah, and that made a huge, huge difference. And within the span of 4 days, I saw 2 massage therapists almost back to back. Both said, "What did you do? Because your tissues are so much better, you're not as swollen." And very, very quickly, I was able to get back into my clothes and seemingly losing weight. Now, you might say, well, Dr. Karen, maybe you were just fat, right? So I actually thought about that theory. I asked Source what was the swelling due to, and it was not fat. I'm not sure I totally believed it at the time, but anyway, I was told by Source, not fat. I said, well, what is it? Long story short, water. And I said, okay, but it's not edema. Like edema, you swell in the legs, your legs are really big, right? Like I'm a retired medical doctor. I know what edema, pathological swelling looks like, and it wasn't that. It was literally the whole body going like a balloon. So Source says it was water, and I said, well, okay, since it's not edema, this must be a different kind of water. And yes, it was. It was structured water, EZ water. Gerald Pollack talks about the 4th phase of water, and that is a gel-like substance. So I was growing this gel-like water in my body, and just to prove it to myself that I wasn't fat, or was, I went to the local CrossFit gym, and I had them do a DEXA body fat scan. So the doctor, Dr. Dove, I went there, I got the scan done, and he's like, and remember, they don't always have charts for Asian people, so I'm always being compared to like Caucasian women, okay? He says, wow, your bone density is amazing. It's better than a teenager's. You're in the 96th or 7th, whatever it was, percentile. So better than 96% of all other women. And not just my age, okay? He's like, wow, what do you do? Do you do a lot of weight training? At the time, not really. So I said, no, but I drink a lot of bone broth, right? He says, okay, we'll keep doing what you're doing. I said, okay. He says, well, your visceral fat, so that's that fat in the belly that surrounds the organs. That's the dangerous fat, the fat that, diabetes, heart disease, strokes, right? That's the kind of fat you don't want. He says, your visceral fat's actually quite good. I mean, you could lose that 1 pound, whatever it was, 0.7 pounds. Can't remember what it was. It wasn't much. Okay. It was very, very little. And I'm like, okay, so I've gained 25 pounds and you're telling me that a little over 1 pound is visceral fat. Well, obviously, you know, obviously the 25-pound weight is not from the dangerous fat. And I said, Dr. Dove, you're so happy with my results. I have high, lean body mass. I have low visceral fat. I have, very good bone density. So what's causing this, right? And he's looking at me curiously, and he's like, well, I guess it could be subcutaneous fat. That's the kind of fat that's harder to get rid of. You have to work really, really hard to get rid of that. So I talked to Source, and Source is like, it's water, or a lot of it's water. And so I said to Dr. Dove, I said, okay, so how do you know the difference between muscle and water when you are counting on the DEXA scan lean body mass? He goes, we can't tell the difference. It lumps it all together. So my high lean body mass could be muscle, could be fascia, could be water, right? So that made a lot of sense, and I felt really validated. And also, that was the little like, yeah, you muscle tested correctly, Dr. Karen, that it was water. That was water. So this ascension swelling tends to be very fast, meaning you could wake up with 2 extra pounds, and you're like, I'm 2 extra pounds on the scale. I feel poopy. What's going on, right? Now, the things, of course, to make sure to decrease the chance of the excess poofiness is having enough sleep. That's really helpful. Being able to poop regularly, that's very helpful. And I noticed with Ascension upgrades in the past, I did not poop well. Yes, a constant source of curiosity. Now I've realized having extra salt water does wonders. If I drink my salt water every day, and quite a bit of it actually, at least 64 ounces, super helpful for pooping. So when things are being eliminated, that extra water can be processed. Now, you might be asking, Dr. Karen, you didn't tell us why there's extra water, right? With Ascension. Okay, this is what I got. For what it's worth, I'm just the messenger. Sometimes I don't know all the answers. I just, source tells me and I'm like, okay. And I try to make scientific sense out of it. So with these Ascension upgrades, especially if you're Light Being Starseed, you receive them very quickly. Okay, so it's like you have this big, huge, funnel up here, right? And then these source codes, these high, that's positive, high vibrational energies come in, right? And then what happens is all this light, this energy, this information needs to be processed. Now, we happen to have a very dense physical form as a human being. So here's the thing. If you're a Light Being Starseed, you're like, well, I have this dense physical form, but I'm really good with processing all this energy, so I'm going to do it really fast, right? Not so much. So what happens is that there's like a backup. There's like all this light coming in. Well, you have to, if you can't process it right away, which many of us cannot, you store it. It's not actually storage, but close enough. You store it in easy water. And we do know with Gerald Pollack's work that if you put his experiments under a light source, the water absorbs the energy and the easy zone, the exclusion zone gets bigger, fatter, for our purposes, bigger, okay? So that extra light causes the size because the water molecules organize themselves in these three-dimensional amazing structures. It's actually multi-dimensional, but anyway, multi-dimensional structures, it causes that gel formation and it holds the information in water until you can process it. So how do you process it better? Well, for sensitive souls, I have found drinking salt water really, really helpful. But of course, check in with yourself, your doctor, whoever you want to check in to see what's appropriate for you. I think salt has gotten a really bad rap. If you're doing really good quality salt, Himalayan salt, red bin salt, Celtic sea salt, there's a lot of really, really great raw, kind of not processed salts there. That can be really helpful because most of those salts have multiple other minerals, trace minerals in it that's super helpful for your body function. So I found salt water very helpful, hydration really helpful, pooping well really helpful, right? If you need to, you can take a little bit more magnesium, is usually pretty safe. And the other thing is at times, and again, check in with your own body because everyone's different. I'm just telling you my experience. At times, shifting what we're eating can be helpful for those Ascension upgrades where we feel kind of bloaty, right? I have found that doing more of a liquid like bone broth or, smoothie, if in the summer, kind of diet, or even fasting and not really taking in much until about 1 o'clock can be really helpful in eating less solid foods. I'm not saying you shouldn't eat solid foods. I'm just saying during these Ascension upgrades, occasionally the body says, whoa, I have a lot of energy to process, right? And you're like, nah, I'm gonna process this hamburger, this steak, this pasta. It's like, wow, way too much to process. So sometimes having an emptier system, and some people do feel like they don't feel like eating that day anyway, and they force themselves to because they think they should. So I'm saying listen to your body, see what it likes. Perhaps doing an intermittent fast or doing, bone broth or doing some sort of broth or vegetable soup if you're, vegetarian, something like that, where it doesn't take you a lot of energy to process for those days might help you not only with elimination, but also help you to not have your body's energy going and doing a whole bunch of other things, right? While you're trying to process these codes and integrate them into the body. And if you happen to be like me and did a heck of a lot of energy work in a short period of time, that made it even worse, right? Because I was like, information, codes, open, right? So I think that having healthy boundaries is helpful, of course, but if you are an energy worker, it is not uncommon to be extra big. That being said, you don't have to be. It just means that you have to take some extra care to take care of your being, your physical body. So hopefully you're eating well. Hopefully you're exercising to the point that you desire, right? And then you could take some time to process these energies. Okay, so that is just the tip of the iceberg for ascension swelling, okay, or spiritual type of swelling. Now let's do some TOLPAKAN healing activations for this. Now, some of the things I'm going to say in this activation is multi-layered, might not make sense to you, and unfortunately I don't have time to explain it because that'd be like a whole module, a whole class, okay? So just, if you feel it's resonant with you, you can just, receive. So what we're asking is for that easy water to process fast, and it requires several parts of your energy body system to do that. And let's go ahead and swap blueprints. Now, it's probably more accurate if we muscle tested each of you individually, because there's some nuances, but we can kind of sort of do a general one to make sure that you have the blueprints that are appropriate for your human body, if you are indeed human and listening to this right now. So for a moment here, close your eyes if it's safe for you to do so, and imagine the body shape, type, size that would be ideal for you. Now, that being said, if you're 5'8" and you've always been big boned, even as a child, don't try to become a pixie, okay? So something reasonable, but something you feel good in, that you feel strong, you feel like svelte, right? Good mobility. And if you want a skinny waist, go ahead, put that in there too. Okay, so just feel what that would feel like in the body. So we're calling forth that energy. All right, let's rub our hands, get into the body. You can even tap yourself. This is called pakda. Just kind of like hitting yourself here just to get some energy moving. Relax, close your eyes if it's safe for you to do so. Just feel the energy running in the body right now where you've moved. It could be tingly. It could be pulsing. It could be waves. Accept it all. Follow that flow wherever it goes. I'll speak the TOLPAKAN healing activations. You make that intention to receive if you'd like to. I now command that the perfect energetic blueprint for you to create and materialize your body as you would like to see, to fit into, to feel, now be downloaded and activated in you as the dominant blueprint to make up your physical body, and all others that are non-human blueprints be relegated to the back. It is only for your highest and greatest good in this moment, in this body and timeline, to have human blueprints. So let's just pick the best one we can, download and activate it with ease, speed, and grace in the highest and best way. Awesome. I now command that the easy or exclusion zone water in your body, with all that source, light, and information, be processed as quickly and easily as possible in the highest and best way, all directions of time, with speed, ease, and grace. I now command that any excess water that is now bulk water be able to be excreted from the body with ease, speed, and grace in the highest best way. Anything preventing any of these healings be healed and resolved now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, take a breath in and out. All right. Now, some of you may have to go run pee in a few minutes. Others will take a little time to process, but hopefully a lot faster. Be able to process that light and energy. Remember, the light is a good thing. You are ascending, you're expanding your consciousness, you're evolving. So your physical body sometimes lags behind. That's okay. That's where we can heal that piece to hurry along that reset of the body. And so hopefully you have the blueprints that are appropriate for you. and that you can have some tools now and some strategies to minimize the ascension swelling and the spiritual swelling. All right, I hope this has been helpful. Love your comments below. What did the activation feel like to you? Did it make sense? Anything I can clarify for you, let me know. And hopefully I'll see you in the Light Medicine community on Circle as well. Until next time, much love. Bye for now. Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you resonated with the message, would love for you to hit like and subscribe and perhaps share it with someone you love, and perhaps even hit the notification bells. Every time I do a new video, you will be notified. In the meantime, would love to connect with you in my private Light Medicine community for sensitive souls to share their stories and to share love and support with each other. I'd love to see you there. I'll put the link below. It's free to join. And I'll also put links to this week's exciting offerings. All right. We'll see you on the other side.